So this is weighted pull-up. So the first tip for the weighted pull-up is to put the weight on properly to the belt. So a lot of people won't put it through the other side. They'll just put it straight through the weight and onto the other side. But it hangs very loose. And that's definitely not ideal, especially if you're going to failure doing harder sets. You put it through the weight and onto the far side of the belt. So the grip then, you don't have to go very, very wide. The wider, the harder, the more your back muscles are going to work. I prefer just outside shoulder width for me personally, especially for the weighted sets and starter set. So that's with 10 kg added weight. And for a pull-up, you want to think chest up rather than chin up. So drive your elbows down, so the elbows come straight down, not backwards. And you think chest up rather than chin up. So you don't duck forward with your head at the top. And think drive your elbows down, chest up. And that way it's going to be better for your posture and you're going to work your back muscles a lot harder. This is weighted tricep tip. So the first tip is to put the weight on properly. So you can put the weight through the hole on the far side of the belt before it goes through the plate. And that's a mistake that a lot of people get wrong, is they put it straight through the plate and then onto the other side, and it hangs a lot lower and it shakes a lot more. So once you put it through the plate, you can put it back on the far side of the belt and it's going to hang a lot more securely there. And that makes a big difference, especially on the harder, more challenging sets. You can hop on their feet and go for 10 reps. So you want, his shoulders are quite wide, a lot wider than mine, so that means his grip will be wider too. So you want your shoulders or your hands just outside shoulder width, and that's where you're going to feel the strongest. So it's different for a chest dip if you're trying to isolate chest a bit more, but usually what you're trying to do is just get into the strongest position, especially if you're doing weighted variation. The range of motion there is really good, so his shoulder is lower than his elbow at the bottom. So real low. Let's go for 3 more. And flex hard as you can. And the second half of the movement here is the easier half. So if you can get to halfway, you can usually lock out, as opposed to a chin up where the second half is the hardest part. So that's why you can progress a lot faster on dips and weighted dips than you can on chin ups. This is the top tips for the barbell back squat. So the first is to go as close as your shoulder mobility allows. So you can see that for him is it's quite wide, and he's quite wide in the shoulders. So as close as possible, but as close as your shoulder mobility allows, and that makes a huge difference. Because when you do that, you can grab the bar tighter, your upper back muscles are all flexed a lot more. Okay, start your set there. So you can see there, he's very good mobility, he's getting way below parallel. And toes pointing out slightly is going to take pressure off the lower back and put it more onto the glutes and the quads. So toes pointing out slightly, like the Olympic lifting stance, is always going to be easier on the lower back and better for range of motion than the toes pointing straight forward. And then grip the bar as tight as you can, chest up, shoulders back, really flex all your back muscles together. Like a lat pull down or the end of the cable rope, flex all your back muscles together, squeeze the bar as tight as possible. This is the Romanian deadlift, so you can go to the side there and squeeze the bar and you can start. So step back, point your toes out a little bit, squeeze your shoulder blades back together, and all the emphasis is on pushing your hips back as far as possible. So you want to go as low as your flexibility allows, but anywhere just past the kneecap is low enough. So once you get to a certain point below the kneecap, your glutes and hamstrings are going to start working less and your lower back is going to start working more. So generally, it's not necessarily the deeper the better. It's what your flexibility allows, where you feel the biggest stretch on your glutes, and then come up from there. So squeeze the bar, squeeze the bar, squeeze your shoulder blades back together, keep your chin neutral, go for 3 more reps, and then push your hips, push your glutes back as far as possible. Slight bend on the knees, toes pointing out, shoulder blades back together, and squeeze up.